You've got the bigger army, more supply, better upgrades. You counted twice. So you push, and 30 seconds later, the whole thing is gone. Their half-sized force barely moved.
And the kill feed is just your unit names scrolling. We've all fed an army into one of those.
Every time. But here's the sting. Nothing about the army was wrong. It filed into a corridor, uphill, into a force that fit the ground better. Your units didn't lose that fight. The ground lost it for you. And that sets up the trick. The ground writes its rules down, and you'll learn to read them first.
And that leads us straight to the claim. We treat the map as the board the game sits on. It's not. It's a rule book, and you can read it before the match even starts. Imagine the same two players, same builds, different map, different game.
Okay, a rule book meaning what exactly? It decides what I'm allowed to do?
It decides what's viable, which is the same thing in practice. Where fights are winnable, when expanding is safe, whether rushing is a plan or a donation, all written into the terrain before anyone clicks.
So when we lose and blame the units or the balance patch, half the time the real culprit was the ground, which means the fix starts before the first click.
Exactly. So let's do the reads in order, the things you can check at the loading screen. The first read is openness. How exposed are the bases? And what does a wall cost here?
Okay, give me the two ends.
Take the classic open map, an Arabia type. No free walls, approaches from 3 sides. Early aggression is legal everywhere. So somebody can be at your door in the first few minutes, and your build has to, respect that from the first villager.
And the closed end flips the law. An arena type spawns you already walled in. The rush is basically banned, so the game becomes a boom and tech race. Same game, opposite rules.
Which is why openness should pick your opening before you've scouted anything about the opponent. The map moved first.
Now, that corridor my army died in, everyone's first reaction there is that the game cheated. You had double their supply. So why would the count lie?
Because the count measures what you own, not what's fighting. In a choke, only the front rank shoots. So a 200 supply army filing into a corridor is really a 20 supply front.
With 180 supply standing in line behind it?
Exactly. Now picture the defender instead, spread in an arc with everything firing, splash landing on units packed shoulder to shoulder. A corridor turns your numbers into a queue at a meat grinder.
Right. A crowd is only as fast as the exit it files through, and you can't outclick a wall. So the fight math is arcs, not totals. Count how many units can actually shoot before you take the fight. The result is fewer donated armies.
After the corridor, the other half of that opening disaster was the slope. And this one hurts because high ground is the most famous rule in the genre, and the games don't even agree on what it does.
Yeah, they really don't. Age of Empires makes the hill literal math. About a quarter more damage swinging down, about a quarter less swinging up. Same units, and the slope quietly wins the trade for whoever's on top. Classic StarCraft made it dice instead. Shooting uphill, roughly half your shots just miss. And then StarCraft 2 dropped both ideas. The hill adds 0 damage there. It blinds you. No vision up the cliff, and you can't shoot what you can't see.
Wait, really? 0 extra damage?
0. In that game, the whole famous advantage is information.
Okay, so 3 games, 3 rules. That's half the donated ramp fights in the genre right there, honestly. People learn the rule in one game and pay for it in the next.
From that mix-up, the playbook, and I learned it the expensive way. I once attacked up a ramp into units I literally couldn't see, lost everything, remade the army, and, walked up the same ramp again.
Oh man, and it went better the second time?
Identical, minus the surprise. So half the read is knowing which rule your game runs, math, dice, or vision, and never fighting uphill blind. The other half, vision is purchasable. One scan, one flyer over the ledge, and the cliff stops mattering.
Or refuse the fight entirely. If the hill discounts their shots, make them stop defending it. Raid what's behind it. Take the expansion they have to answer.
Right. So you don't beat a hill by climbing it.
Yeah, you make it worthless instead. And pricing, it turns out, is the map's whole language. So the next read runs on it.
Next read, where the map lets you get rich. Expansions look like free money, but placement is a pricing curve. A third base tucked behind a choke near your main is cheap greed. The far gold out in the open is expensive, whatever the resource count says.
Expensive because of the walk.
The walk is the whole price. Travel time is response time. Picture this. A raid catches your far gold while every worker there is still mining, and the base is lost before your army crosses the map because the designer put 40 seconds of walking in between, knowing the raid only needs 15.
And it flips when you're the raider. You don't hit the army. You hit the base the army can't reach in time. You're not fighting their units. You're fighting their walk.
That's harassment. Both ends of it. Read distance plus defensibility, and that gives you both timings, when your greed is safe and where your punish lives.
From those reads, vision, arcs, distances, one phrase keeps surfacing. Casters lean on it constantly. He's got map control, he's dictating the whole game. I think it's the most misused term in the genre, honestly. People hear it like risk, like you're painting the minimap your color. But when a caster says it, nothing on the ground changed hands.
Right, so what is it concretely? Most of these games don't even have a capture bar on open ground.
Okay, let's unpack this. What you own is options. Control is vision on the paths, so nothing crosses without being seen. Park one cheap unit at the watchtower in the middle, and a huge chunk of the map reports to you. It's pressure on the expansions they'd want next. It's your army moving freely while every step they take outside their base pays a toll.
I love that framing. It's control. Like in chess, the squares you attack, not the squares you occupy.
Yeah, exactly that. Map control means you're making the next decision, and they're making the next reaction.
And some designers wire that squeeze straight into the economy. Company of Heroes pays your fuel and munitions only while the point stays connected back to your base through friendly ground.
So cut one link in the middle and everything behind it just goes dark?
Dark until they fight the link back. The points still fly their flag, and they pay nothing. That's the meanest version of owning options.
You didn't take their stuff. You cut the pipe it flows through. And it's the fog of war bargain from the other side. Every road that reports to you shrinks their next move.
Before any of those reads, though, the map already made one move without you. It picked where you spawned. Rush distance decides how legal cheese is, the all-in gambits. Say you spawn close, those are lethal. Cross-map? Greed gets to breathe.
And the designers have had to own that in public. The patch notes are linked in the description. 4-player ladder maps used to let you roll spawns right next door, and whole matches got decided by that dice roll. They eventually just turned close spawns off.
Oh, right. And the random generation games have the other version. Sometimes your wall rolls with a hole in it, and theirs doesn't. The devs keep retuning the generator, and pros play custom versions that strip the luck out.
Because a perfect mirror is perfectly fair and kind of sterile, and a map with character deals uneven hands. Fairness is a dial, and now we can see the bigger lever because the hand on that dial doesn't stop at spawns.
From that dial, go one level up.
To the map pool, because there's a version of this almost nobody clocks.
Let's hear it.
Once you see maps as rulebooks, the ranked pool is a balance patch. Swing it toward open maps and aggression gets stronger. Add a choked map and defense rises. Nobody touched a single unit.
Whoa, so they're patching the game without patching the game.
Constantly. And a broken map gets removed like a broken unit. One ladder map was so small that whoever attacked first basically won. It got cut. Another came off when one side kept winning well over half its games.
So the veto system is the player's end of the deal.
Your bans are a strategy slot. Ban the maps that ban your game, and practice the pool, not just the matchup. Pros prepare per map for a reason.
So run it as a checklist next loading screen. Open or closed picks your opening. Arcs pick your fights, so count shooters, not supply. Learn your game's hill rule before you pay for it. Distance prices your greed. And control is options, not tiles.
The designer is the third player in every match, and the map is their opening move. The only question is whether you read it before you answer it.
Yeah, and engineers get this one for free. Same build, different deployment environment, different system. The environment was always part of the design. Next time we get into tempo, why a small early lead snowballs into a finished game. And what designers build to give the player who's behind a road back. Thanks for listening to Learning Podcasts.